Steve McDonald reporting there from China. Hans Hendryshky is a professor of Chinese business and management at the University of Sydney. He's lived in China for several years and was in Beijing a few months ago looking at Chinese investment in Australia. He joins us now, Professor Hans Hendryshky. Thanks for coming in.
Hello.
How significant is this case in terms of raising awareness about the inner workings generally of the Chinese Communist Party?
It's quite significant, but it's significant in a way that you have to take a few steps back to really make sense of it. It's not part of a simple power structure or power struggle that you say you have the bad guys and the good guys, and this one is part of the bad guys. But it's part of the Chinese coming to terms with a government structure which is not working anymore. And that's what normally is meant when you talk about political reform from a Chinese side. China is extremely decentralized without having a federal structure. And Bo Xilai in Chongqing was trying to mend problems there. And that's where he had his police chief with him, Wang Lijun, who's now on trial. And essentially what they should have done and what they couldn't do was to put in or to work within a legal framework that is not fully developed. So what they did instead was to work outside the legal framework, and that is what gets them into the trouble they're in now.
So what was the motive? What is the alleged motive, or what do you believe is the motive behind this murder? And how does that work into the politics of it all?
Well, I think the murder is a bizarre incident.
Right.
That is more something for kind of traditional Chinese stories of intrigues and murder. But what leads into the political process, that is really the fact that Bo Xilai was sent to Chongqing to bring the city or the municipality, the independent provincial level municipality, back under central control.
Okay.
So he had to come in here to arrest several thousand people, thousands of people going on trial, people being executed. That was simply a way of the central government trying to reassert its authority.
And to what extent had he been successful in reasserting central authority over this province?
He was successful in a number of ways, but he was unsuccessful in the way that would have been most crucial. He was successful in the way of raising economic growth in the city, of getting rid of gangs and power structures that were not following central commands. But what he did, and that was a big mistake, he did that without following legal structures. He did that in the old revolutionary charismatic way, and that got him into trouble because the whole process then led to corruption. Confiscated assets, confiscated land and so on went to the wrong people, and that all created this dissatisfaction with the way he had handled things.
If he'd been more successful in handling the province generally, do you think he would have been protected from any fallout from what has happened with this murder case involving his wife? Or do you believe he may still be protected to an extent and this police chief could be a bit of a scapegoat, this police chief who's going on trial today?
I wouldn't exclude that, because in the end what he has done is he did a favour to the central government. He really went out there without much protection, without much institutional background, and said, I'll do it. And he did it, he turned things around, he arrested people, he stopped corruption to whatever degree. But he was left alone.
As you understand it, though, now he's under house arrest and could still face charges?
He's under house arrest, yes. He's normally this kind of house arrest where people have a limited freedom of talking to people, of seeing things, of doing things. Charges could be laid, but that we don't know. And whatever we say about that is speculation.
Do you think his political career could be resurrected at all?
I think the likelihood is more that it will not be, but I don't think you can exclude it completely, because he's aristocracy. He's Communist Party aristocracy of the really highest level that you could have.
Okay, we've got to finish up, but just before we do, on the economic front, we've got one of the Royal Dutch Shell's top global executives warning today China's economy could be in worse shape than official figures suggest. What's your take on that?
Well, you wouldn't ever measure it by official figures alone, but the Chinese have
Why not?
Well, because official figures are manipulated. We know that. There's nothing new to that.
So you cannot trust the official figures that come out of China?
You can trust them to the degree that they indicate changes, but they're not absolute figures. And what we know on the other side is that they have put in a stimulus program, a very large stimulus program. They just had this month, and that might be one reason why the president or the future president was not away. They had budget negotiations for all the state-owned enterprises which are getting restructured. And they have a new economic program out that includes investment in areas of interest to Australia. So I don't think we're seeing the end of the Chinese economy or anything like a collapse.
No, but it's not doing as well as the figures may suggest.
Well, the point was really that everybody was saying that Chinese economy should have a slowdown and is growing too fast. Now it's coming down. And now people start to be unhappy about it coming down. I mean, the balance is something you can't prescribe, but it's clearly coming down. It's coming down in a controlled way.
Okay, Professor Hans Hendryshky, thanks very much for coming in, and I'll be keen on talking to you again when the transition happens.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers.